Giordano along with Todd Flesner.
Hey Deb, how you doing?
Great. Enjoying this fall weather.
Absolutely. Well, this is, I think, the best time of year here in the Bay Area.
Yeah, it is nice.
The end of summer, first part of the fall is fabulous.
Well, we've been doing this show a lot of years, and we're still on Channel 26, and folks can catch us on
We're
Monday.
still here.
We're still here. Catch us on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6:30 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m. if you want to catch the show again.
Terrific.
So you brought a guest today.
I did. And, we love to get a chance to bring folks in and expose our audience to all sorts of different topics. And this is one that may touch people's lives, may not, but I think everybody knows somebody who's had relationship issues, right? And has gone through some rocky times or divorce. And so Gloria Flores-Cerul is our guest today, and Gloria works with couples that are going through the separation process and helps them to get through that in a friendly sort of manner. You're a mediator, correct?
I am a divorce mediator and collaborative divorce practitioner.
Terrific. So it's terrific to have you on. I was fascinated, when we talked and met and learned a little bit more about your practice, because it's considerably different than what a lot of people think of when they think of a marriage coming to an end.
Yes, that's very true.
Terrific. Well, we're going to look forward to getting a chance to know you and a little bit more about what you do.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Great. So maybe just start off, give us a little bit of your background, maybe where you grew up and went to school.
Well, I was born and raised in San Jose. I went to Santa Clara University for my undergraduate degree, and then I got my law degree at University of San Francisco. I decided to move back to San Jose and live there because that's where my family is, and I've got a large, tight-knit family, so that's where I live still.
Okay.
Terrific.
What do you like about living in the Bay Area here?
Oh, I love living in the Bay Area. You can't beat the weather, of course, as you
Right.
both mentioned earlier, but it's really central to so many amazing places and diversity of landscapes and activities. So, you can go skiing in 4 hours, or you could be at the beach in a half hour. So I just think it's beautiful here.
Great. Good. So you went to Santa Clara Laws. You stayed local here.
I went to Santa Clara for undergrad, USF for law.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But you're local here and have stayed local. In your pursuit of law, I'm sure there are a lot of different choices that you have in terms of area of specialty. What led you into the area of family law, and particularly into divorce mediation?
Well, I sort of just fell into the area of divorce law, and I did that for 10 years. I was a divorce litigator for 10 years, and after doing that for 10 years, I sort of started to feel burned out and demoralized, frankly, and I started to think there must be a better way to get a divorce. And so that led me to mediation and collaborative practice. And since then, that's pretty much what I've focused on. I still go to court every once in a while, but I really emphasize, or the emphasis of my work is in mediation and collaborative practice. And those are essentially ways of getting a divorce without going to court.
Okay.
Wow. So that leads into the question, what does a divorce mediator actually do?
So as a divorce mediator, I basically walk people through the divorce process, and I help them to reach their own agreements in their divorce, and I handle all of the paperwork, and they can get a divorce without ever having to step into court.
Okay.
Wow.
So now, is there special licenses, special training, special?
Yes. Well, I'm licensed by the State Bar of California to be a lawyer,
Right.
and then on top of that, I have I'm a certified specialist in family law, certified by the State Bar Board of Legal Specialization, and then on top of that, I have intensive mediation training and also collaborative practice process training.
Okay. Now, that sounds like that took a lot of time and effort to go through that.
It did, but it's worth it because I'm really happy with what I do, and I think that people who do a divorce out of court, if it's the right type of case, then it makes it all worthwhile.
So that interests me. So not going to court. So what are other reasons why a couple would choose divorce mediation? It sounds like time is shortened. maybe cost is shortened.
Exactly. Yeah. You can save time, money, but a lot of people want to stay out of court because a divorce in court is based on an adversarial system. So even when people are amicable at the outset, it tends to get it tends to become less cooperative just because of the nature of the court system. And so a lot of people want to stay out of court because they want to avoid the horror stories that you hear about in litigated divorces. Other people want to stay out of court because it's better for the children. People who don't want to go through a nasty custody battle want to stay out of court. And then there are people who want to stay out of court because court is a very lawyer-driven process. So they feel like their voice isn't heard. Their lawyers do all the talking. Other people want to stay out of court because they don't want a judge who doesn't know them or their family to make decisions for them. They prefer to make their own decisions.
Okay. So this sounds like it's much more of a hands-on sort of process then for folks, where you're helping to lead that. Is it? How effective do you find the mediation process? And are there cases where maybe it's not appropriate?
Yes. So mediation and collaborative practice are very effective in cases where both spouses are highly motivated to resolve their issues in a way where they feel that the other person, their needs are going to be met as well as their own. So when it doesn't work well, on the other hand, for people who are so angry or have so much hatred that they have a, scorched earth mentality where it's not okay for them, for the other person to be okay. So it works well in cases where people they realize they have differences, they realize they have issues that need to be resolved, but they want to resolve them in a way that is respectful and where the other party is going to be okay.
Okay. So we talked about, are you able to resolve custody, real estate, spousal support? How does that factor in?
All of the issues in a divorce are going to be discussed and hopefully resolved if they reach an agreement. So whatever issues are in the divorce, terminating the marriage, spousal support, if there are children, then custody and child support issues, and all property divisions. So if there's real estate, then yes, real estate.
Oh, good. How can you think of, in terms of the outcome that you have with this, how would you describe that process and how folks really approach that in terms of outcomes?
Can you clarify that question?
I guess, in terms of the feeling of success that people have, or the degree of success that people have having gone through the mediation process, do people come through that with a sense of satisfaction, or
That's a good question.
Are there still issues that need to be worked out perhaps after going through mediation?
Well, I would say overall, people who have reached agreements through mediation or collaborative process feel very satisfied and appreciative, especially when compared to people that they know who got a divorce through the court process, where they've spent a lot of money, and in the end, even somebody who wins in court often doesn't feel like a win. So I would say that as long as they've been able to get through the mediation process and the collaborative process and have reached an agreement, the outcomes feel very satisfactory. Now, whether you reach an agreement through the court process or through mediation or collaborative process, if there are children involved or there are support issues, oftentimes there are things that happen down the road that you have to revisit later. One of the nice things about mediation and collaborative process is it gives you a structure that you can go to when those things happen. So you can return to a mediator, or you can return to a collaborative process. Or some people have learned to resolve their own problems so well in the process that sometimes they don't have to return at all. They can just reach their own agreements without ever having to go back to any formal process.
Okay, terrific.
Okay, so what are some of the problems you've solved? Examples? Or?
I've resolved very complex family law issues, sometimes in cases where people have come in feeling that they're really far apart and they're never going to reach an agreement. Sometimes in mediation and collaborative process,
You can
when
find that common ground.
you find the common ground, and you also get people to refocus on their most important needs and interests as opposed to what they want. And so when people are able to refocus on their needs and interests as opposed to their anger, they can often put their emotions in perspective and really get to the problem solving aspect and reach an agreement that maybe is something outside of anything that they'd ever even considered before.
Yeah, good. I mean, you use the term collaborative practice. Does that refer to really the way that you're working with folks?
No.
Or does that refer to the fact you're bringing other folks into that process as well?
It's the latter. So collaborative process is like mediation in the sense that at the outset you're agreeing not to go to court. The difference is in mediation you're going to one lawyer who is neutral. And so when I'm a mediator, I'm neutral. I don't give people legal advice. What I do is I encourage them to consult with independent lawyers, especially at the end to review any proposed mediated agreement, so that they have the benefit of independent legal advice. Collaborative process, like mediation, you agree at the outset to stay out of court, but each spouse has their own lawyer. And in a full collaborative process, you have mental health therapists who serve as divorce coaches, and they help us get through the emotional issues in the case so that when there are impasses, they help people get past them to reach an agreement. And if there are children, you can have a mental health therapist help with the parenting aspect of the agreement. And you also have a financial specialist who acts as a neutral to help people do their disclosures and deal with the financial data. And I like to think that even though it seems like there are a lot of professionals involved, actually it's very streamlined because you don't have the lawyers doing all of the work. We only come in certain parts of it. So when you're meeting with the financial neutral to do your financial disclosures, the lawyers aren't involved in that process at all.
Okay,
great.
Good.
So we talked about suggesting settlements. I suspect you do that in some fashion, maybe some guidance, advice? Or?
I absolutely do. I believe that it's really important to have people make informed decisions. And so for me, that means that they need to know what the law is.
Maybe some options? Or
Absolutely options, yes.
Okay.
They need to know what the law is, whether the area of the law that pertains to the issues in their case is black and white, or if it's a gray area, in which case then I can give them, sort of what I've seen happen in other cases, what I've seen judges do, and then, I can give them options for what has worked well for other people, and yes, I give them as much information as actually they ask me for or I think that they need. And ultimately, though, the decision is up to them. Unlike court, I'm not going to make any decisions for them, that they make those on their own.
Okay, good. What are some of the challenges that you face in your role?
So some of the challenges are, in all the cases, divorce is such a difficult time for people. So to watch people going through what oftentimes is the most difficult period in their lives is hard. It's hard to get them to focus on the substantive issues when the emotions sometimes are so prevalent. It's really hard for people to think rationally when they're emotionally flooded. So one of the challenges is to help them step away from that and put their emotions in perspective so we can really focus on the substantive issues. The other thing that's challenging is when people put children in the middle. And
I bet you see that a lot.
I see that a lot, and watching children go through divorces, I can say that it's not really the divorce itself that impacts children, it's the level of conflict between the parents. So that's hard for me too.
Sure.
Another challenge is not all cases are good cases for mediation or collaborative, and it's kind of hard to tell people that they're not going to be able to do a case
I heard
outside of court.
Brad and Angelina have now filed for divorce. Maybe
Yes.
they would be a good candidate. For
They
you.
might be a good candidate, yes, yes. You know, it really, for mediation and collaborative process to work, it takes both people to be motivated to do this because it's completely voluntary. And if you've got one person who's dragging the other person through the process, it's not going to work. Yeah, so I get a lot of people who really want to do mediation or collaborative process, but the other person's not interested at all.
That's almost like counseling or marriage counseling where the
It's
two are not on the
exactly.
same page. So.
It's exactly like marriage counseling in that way,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
You have to have two equally
cooperative
motivated
thinking.
people. Yep.
All right.
Good.
Rewards?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there must be, coming from a background of litigation for 10 years and
Yes.
into mediation, what are the kind of the rewards that you have out of your career?
The rewards are when I see people at the end of their divorce and they feel that they did right by each other and right by their kids and feel that they got a good deal. And by that I mean they didn't get everything that they wanted, but they feel that they were treated fairly, they were heard, and each person really had their needs met.
Wow. Terrific.
Great. Well, Gloria, it's been absolutely fantastic getting to know you and about this really specialized field of divorce mediation.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
It is fascinating.
I know we've just really touched the surface on this. If folks want to learn out a little bit more about the process or are interested, how might they get in touch with you?
Well, they can contact me at my office. Do I give my contact
sure.
information?
If you wish. Yes.
My phone number is 408-418-4670. And they can also go to my website or contact me by email. My website is www.sanjosedivorce.net. And my email is gloria@sanjosedivorce.net.
Nice. Great.
Terrific.
Thank you for taking the time. It's a pleasure meeting you, and good luck with your business.
Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
The following is a public service announcement test to determine if you need a fishing license and boat registration before you head out on the water. Let us begin. Are you a pelican? Does this look like your house? Is this your idea of fishing with friends? Do you use your feet as fishing hooks? Are you your own boat? Do you have webbed feet? No, I mean like a... That's the one. Do you want this in your favorite lake? Yuck, yike. No thanks, mister. Regardless how you answered, you need to be licensed and registered because it helps local conservation efforts protect the very natural resources you enjoy boating and fishing in for generations to come. Do your part at takemefishing.org.
Welcome back, everybody. You're watching Valley Homes on TV. I'm Debbie and Giordano with Todd Flesner. We're here to give you a little snippet of what the market looks like for this is now September, and so we'll kind of look back into August and see what's
Right.
going on. But the first thing I'm always interested in is the financial markets. How are interest rates and what's going on in that realm?
Yeah, interest rates remain historically in a low area. We've seen a little bit of an increase here the first part of September.
Okay.
And that really is related to some of the comments that members of the Federal Reserve boards have had in public recently. And
Such as?
they've been hinting rather strongly that the Fed would like to be able to raise interest rate policy at some point in time, and they keep talking about the numbers and what they're watching, and inflation and unemployment numbers, and
Right.
And the strength of the economy overall, GDP growth.
Don't you think historically, the pre-election time, they usually don't raise rates, or is
Yeah.
that kind of a standard?
Yeah, historically, you'll find the Fed really wants to be in the back seat during an election cycle. That they try not to have a policy change during that cycle if possible.
Okay.
And so, I mean, we've been in unusual times, though, in terms of where the Fed has been and where our economy has been, and the accommodative policy that we've had for interest rates. Okay. And so the Fed for the last couple of years has really been hoping they start to see a little bit more steam in the economy, right? A little bit more economic activity that would lead to a little bit more of a normal interest rate policy. Okay. So we still are in a very low interest rate policy.
What are rates for the consumer right now?
Rates are going to be in the high threes, 3.75 to 4%, depending upon the loan and the amount of down payment. And you know, I know I sound evasive when that is, but there are so many different variables that go into somebody's interest rate.
Well, you don't work for a bank directly, so you're a loan broker, so you have access to many different programs.
Absolutely. So the loan program has a lot to do with it. The property has something to do with it. The credit score has something to do with it. The down payment.
Wow.
So all those factors combined give a risk profile to a borrower.
Interesting.
And so and the bank is going to get a reward based on that risk assessment.
Right. Let's talk about, I have a nice article in the newspaper. It says goodbye mortgage insurance.
Yes.
So explain what is mortgage insurance and how does that happen?
Okay.
And then thirdly, how can a borrower, once they're into the house, how do they get that mortgage insurance off there?
Well, we talked about down payment being one of the variables with a mortgage rate, all right? If you don't have 20% down payment, the lender is going to want to have an additional guarantee against that loan. 20% is usually where the lender feels like you have enough invested in that property that you get a significant stake that's there. The chances of someone walking away from a loan if they have lower down payment is greater. So MI, or mortgage insurance, is just that. It's an insurance policy that the lender requires you to have against a default on that loan.
What is that? Is that 0.25%, 0.5% interest?
Well, no, it's a mortgage insurance premium that's paid on a monthly basis.
Okay.
And there's a whole formula about how much that mortgage insurance premium is, dependent upon your credit score, dependent upon the mortgage product, where the property's located.
I did not know it was so complicated.
Yeah, so and then I got to go and I got to look up what the rate is, based on your particular score and how much that premium is. There's another way to do mortgage insurance as well. It's a tax advantaged way, and instead of paying a mortgage insurance premium, the lender will charge you a little bit higher interest rate. So you pay interest as opposed to an insurance premium.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
And there are pros and cons to each. I'm not going to go into that now. But you talked about getting rid of mortgage insurance. So there are two ways to do that.
Okay.
One is to make your mortgage payments every month, and a little bit of your payment goes to paying the loan down. Right?
The principal balance.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so by doing that over time, your principal balance, once it gets to 78% of the original purchase price of the loan or the property has to be removed automatically. So there's an automatic removal at that point in time in the amortization schedule.
Okay.
Now, many of us here in California will see appreciation in our properties. And so if you benefit from appreciation and the value of your property grows over time, and now the loan balance is less than 80% of the current value, you can petition the lender to have that removed.
Does the lender do an appraisal?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to do an appraisal to determine the market value, and the lender is going to determine what appraiser they use.
Okay.
They get to choose, not you.
Okay.
And those appraisals tend to be a little bit more on the conservative side. Yeah, so,
but it may work out well for the buyer.
Absolutely, and so
I bet a lot of folks don't look into doing that.
Some do, some don't, and I try to look out for clients as well for those opportunities when those come along. And but if you have a mortgage insurance premium on your loan, it's good to check from time to time to see what the local market's doing.
Good. So let's talk about a couple things, and then we might have to wrap up here. Are extended warranties on appliances worth it? And generally, on the real estate transactions, I'm seeing a lot of the sale where the buyer is requesting that the seller pay an extended 1-year warranty, which covers the stove, the dishwasher, refrigerator, if there's one in there, all the components, working components, washer and dryer, the heater, air conditioner. If there's a spa, it can cover the spa. Also the electrical and plumbing. There's a lot of components can be.
Now, is that something you recommend?
I actually do, Todd. I think you go through enough financial trauma just to get into a home that if something were to break within that first year, it becomes more difficult. To have 1 year peace of mind is really good. So most of the sellers don't mind paying for that. That runs anywhere between $400 to $500 for that premium.
I was going to say, I was going to ask.
It's a great little policy to have on there, and I do recommend that. So.
Well, that's one appliance breakdown, for that policy, right?
Yes. So I actually have some pretty exciting numbers. These are the MLS. The average home price in August of 2015 for a single-family home was $854,000 in Milpitas.
Okay.
Any guess what it jumped to?
I don't know. Are we at $1 million yet?
You know what? You're good guess. $974,000.
So we're
We just
closing.
talked offline about a home that I just sold for over $1.1 million in Milpitas, and then median price has jumped from $786,000 to $880,000. So we've really seen a great year. And then condos. Let's see what the condos were doing. In August of 2015, $542,000 for an average, $560,000 for a median price, and that has jumped to $664,000 average and $700,000 for median price.
Okay. And again, those are existing condos, because we're building a lot of new condos here in Milpitas.
Right, we are, and I'm sure the prices are a little higher
Right.
for the new products, but these are just the existing homes. So, yeah, so anything else? I think we'll wrap it up. This is September. We're rolling into the end of the year, and folks that want to kind of purchase a home and are jumping in. I had a great open house last weekend, 68 families through in the 2-day open house, so a lot of people looking.
And still multiple offers on properties?
Yeah, eight offers today on one, so, yeah.
So, all right, so that means it's a great time to buy a home if folks are really out there looking. And interest rates are
Great time to
low.
sell, great time to buy. It's a good market, so.
Terrific.
We'll see you in a couple weeks and see
All
who
right.
else we show.
Good seeing you again.
Information for the folks.
Oh, yeah. If you have a question about the show or in general, let's see, T. Flesner at opusadvisors.com is the email address. We'll get that up on the screen.
Yep, and I can be reached at giordanodj@aol.com. All right,
Terrific.
Todd, you have a great balance of the summer, ready for fall. So,
All right, thanks.
thank you.